This is an ABC News special report.
Good morning. For those of you just joining us, I'm Amy Robach, and we are live with breaking news this morning. There was a deadly train crash in New Jersey. At least one person has died. More than 100 others have been injured, some of them critically. For the very latest, let's head straight to the scene. And ABC's Gio Benitez, who's there in Hoboken, New Jersey. Good morning, Gio.
Amy, good morning to you. A rough morning indeed for so many passengers here in this area. Just take a look. There are emergency workers all over the place trying to get a handle of this. This is a very, very serious situation here in Hoboken. One of the most popular train stops in all of New York City, in fact, here in Hoboken and in New Jersey, of course. We're talking about those 100 people who are injured, so many of them seriously, some of them critically injured, and of course that one person who has died. We have spoken with a witness. Take a listen to what he saw.
Gio, I know that we are hearing from witnesses throughout the morning, and you talked with them specifically, many people describing it as a shaking and just merely the fact that the train wouldn't stop. There were no brakes, and it came up onto the platform, as we're seeing some of that video coming in from the train station. What were some of those witnesses telling you?
Well, they were saying that that train just slammed into this platform, and that's what we're worried about, is did it hit many people as it was, slamming into this platform? Were those people just waiting there, waiting for this train? We know that the train was late, so we don't know what factored into this train slamming into the platform. When it did that, we're told that one of the columns actually collapsed, and so part of the roof inside that train station also collapsed, Amy.
And Gio, we've heard reports throughout the morning that there may be people still trapped as emergency crews and first responders rushed to the scene almost immediately. This happened just before 9 a.m. East Coast time. Any word on what's happening inside in terms of any rescue or recovery efforts?
We have seen emergency worker after emergency worker, Amy, going in and out of this. They are desperately trying to get there. Many of these trucks have been just moving all over the place trying to get there to see who is still trapped, because we don't know how many of the injured were passengers and how many of the injured were just waiting for this train. As you can imagine, this is rush hour traffic. I was getting calls from people who said, I was going to get on that train, but I missed it by 5 minutes. This platform here is, of course, the fifth busiest in New Jersey right now. It's the fifth busiest platform. So as you can imagine, so many people were right there. We know that the first car was most seriously impacted. We're told that other people in the other cars were actually able to walk out of the train.
Yeah, we've heard from some of those people. And just for folks at home who aren't familiar with this area, this is just across the Hudson River from New York City. And for most people who are there in Hoboken, this is the last stop, the final boarding stop to make their trip into New York City each day. This is a huge commuter hub there, Hoboken to New Jersey. We know that the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, is on the scene. They're now investigating possible causes. Gio, what have eyewitnesses said? That is there any indication what may have happened here?
All they were saying is that it was going very fast. So, Amy, that's all we know right now. But one of the things that the NTSB is going to be looking at, they're going to be looking at maintenance. They're going to be looking, of course, at human factors, possible fatigue. Did that operator sleep enough? We're going to be looking at track condition, the train itself. Many of these trains are older trains, so they're going to look at whether it was properly maintained. So many factors could be responsible for this, Amy.
All right, Gio, thank you so much for that eyewitness report. We'll let you get to doing what you do best, to get out there and talk to people and see what's happening at this hour. In the meantime, we have someone who witnessed part of this tragedy unfold. Matt Hallidick was on the other side, I believe, when the train came up onto the tracks, off the tracks, onto the platform there. Matt, I know you're joining us by phone. Just set the scene for us. Tell us what happened, what you saw.
Well, I was coming from the opposite side, like you said. I was coming from the light rail side, from Bayonne by the water. And as I was getting off the train, I had my headphones in, and I heard a woman yelling that there was an accident, and the train had crashed. You couldn't get to the street; everything was blocked off, and wasn't sure, what she was saying or what was going on at that point. But as I turned the corner to go into the station, it was already pretty chaotic. There were people everywhere, and stopping and taking photos. You could see the train had gone through the station. You could see the roof and the, some of the structural part of the station that collapsed. There was water leaking. The wires were hanging. It was pretty crazy.
I can't even imagine. We know one person has been killed, more than 100 others injured. I can't imagine what that scene looked like. Did you see some of the wounded? I know that there were a lot of walking wounded, reports of people, others perhaps trapped as well. Just tell us what you saw.
Well, as I walked through the waiting area inside to get out to get to work, I saw some people who, looked like they had been wounded in some way. I'm not sure if they were on the train or, in the station and were affected that way, but they were, a lot of people shaken up. Some people getting some medical attention. When I got outside, there were some people who were on the ground, getting medical attention, and that's when you really start to see an influx of first responders. There were already some on the scene, but then there was, as I was getting out, there was a ton of, police, ton of fire personnel, medical personnel, and they were, just been an influx of first responders all morning.
All right. Well, we are certainly glad you were okay. Thank you so much for setting the scene for us, telling us what you saw this morning. Of course, such an unfortunate situation. Matt Haladek, thank you so much. And again, more than 100 people injured. We know that one person has been killed. That train coming into Hoboken just before 9 a.m. this morning on its way to New York City. We are going to have much more on the story throughout the day here at ABC News. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, though, we are going to return now to regular programming in some parts of the country. That is Good Morning America. And of course, there will be a complete wrap up on World News Tonight with David Muir. And of course, you can get any information at abcnews.com throughout the day. I'm Amy Robach here in New York. Have a great day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.